And it all goes back to 1867, where this man named Henry Nestle decided to begin his company in Switzerland. And the reason why he wanted to start the brand was because he wanted to create a line of milk-based baby formula for babies who are unable to receive breast milk due to a variety of factors, which is revolutionary. I mean, that's a great goal because babies need to get fed. And you guys know there are some people who can't produce breast milk, or like a mother who unfortunately dies when giving birth. I mean, that baby needs to be fed. So this is a great product to come up with. Even though Henry had a great idea of creating this product, his strategies were wrong because Nestle has this operation of creating a problem and then, providing the customer a solution to fix this problem. Like, for example, they got in trouble for trying to discourage breastfeeding. We go from this man trying to create this company based on a product that can solve a lot of problems to them then creating this product and then trying to create problems so that they could sell more. We really saw this play out in the 1970s because Nestle discouraged breastfeeding to push their formula as a superior option.
For your special baby. More than 50 million babies have been raised on this form of milk.
This actually triggered a widespread boycott of Nestle goods, which eventually extended to Europe. The boycott went on from 1977 through 1984, when Nestle then agreed to follow an international marketing code by the WHO. So these manipulation tactics that Nestle was using around baby formula was way beyond the US. The entire world was starting to be convinced that their baby needed baby formula to be superior. So Nestle began advertising baby formula as superior to breast milk, attempting to manipulate customers by spreading this narrative that's not correct. They even bribed medical specialists to testify on their behalf. So they're paying these people who are supposed to be educated and qualified to lie to the public to try to prove that their formula is better than the natural thing. Their ad campaigns encourage mothers to replace breast milk with baby formula. The most horrible thing that Nestle did was hire saleswomen in developing regions of Asia and Africa and send them to give medical advice to mothers there and free samples of this baby formula. So trying to go to third world countries and trying to create this basis that baby formula is normalized. Even if the formula is only dried milk, vegetable oils, and sugars, the key factor is the company's marketing, which led to people feeling that the formula was essential for their baby to grow healthy and well. People actually started to believe that breast milk wasn't even sufficient when the evidence shows otherwise. And now we've got babies who are malnutritioned because they are only drinking this crap that Nestle is pushing. Nestle even went as far as to pay doctors to convince mothers that formula was more nutritional than breast milk. And the formula actually had no nutritional value. It was pretty much sugar water, so really not great for a baby to consume, especially back then because formula wasn't as advanced as it is nowadays. In an attempt to make more money, Nestle started expanding their client market. Instead of just selling to mothers who couldn't breastfeed, they started targeting uneducated mothers who could breastfeed. And their goal was to convince these women that their formula, their sugar powder, would do their babies much better. It kind of reminds me of how the drug market manipulates people. They go to doctors and convince doctors to prescribe these medications, and it's all just a false narrative to make money. They hired nurses to visit these mothers and give them samples of the formula. And what's disturbing about these formulas is that they lasted long enough that the mother's milk would dry up. So they would give them enough formula to feed their baby, but then the mom realizes, oh my gosh, I've lost my ability to produce milk, so now they're dependent on it. And their goal was to lead the mother to her milk drying up and the baby getting dependent on this formula. The company's horrible PR stunt led to thousands of infant deaths as the mothers were swapping Nestle's baby formula for breast milk. This left the children deficient in the necessary nutrients that breast milk would provide. So again, formula nowadays is far more advanced. This is way early on to when babies are now being led to sickness, starvation, and the mom can't do anything about it because their breast milk is gone. It sounds like a living hell. The worst impact was in those undeveloped regions of the world where mothers were diluting the formula with more water to save money and were unknowingly starving their children. Breast milk provides all the elements vital for development of the baby and its immune system. With a lack of natural milk, the babies from underdeveloped regions with no access to clean water suffered from many diseases and died. And that's all Nestle's fault.
When promoting the product, Nestle did not consider these families' long-term ability to afford the formula. One Jamaican mother claimed that not only was she feeding 2 babies with the contents of 1 canister of formula, she was watering it down so much that it could provide 3 times as many servings than recommended. Children who were fed the diluted formula were not receiving nearly enough nutrients, which was leading to severe malnutrition. An estimated 1 million children were dying from conditions related to formula feeding every year.
That is disturbing. I mean, I feel like the people responsible should be put in court for the deaths of these babies. The formula was even named the baby killer by media. When the situation got worse and people started getting mad about this and protesting, that's when the WHO, the World Health Organization, stepped in. The company, often criticized as Nestle is evil, tried to clear their name and started mentioning in their advertisements that breast milk cannot be replaced. But at that point, the damage had been done, and people were starting to put out ads out there against Nestle, calling it this baby killer, which of course no mother wants to give their baby this formula when it's involved in so much controversy. So is it worth it? It also reminds me that I don't think Henry Nestle, like the guy that started this brand, wanted it to become this. I think he wanted to create a product to fill a void, to save children, not to kill them. Babies are so fragile, they're so vulnerable, and there's so much misinformation surrounding this campaign. Mothers who lived in countries with polluted water would give their babies the formula with water, and they were not taught to boil the water in order to keep their babies safe. Nestle took no responsibility with this. They claimed they provide the mothers with written instructions, but that means nothing for mothers in undeveloped countries who couldn't read at all. Let alone, I'm sure these instructions aren't translated to their language, so they're left without any information, and they're told that their baby needs this formula to thrive. Sadly, many families couldn't afford the baby formula. Plus, I also question, if they went to these underdeveloped countries, does that mean they came with a bunch of stock to go and stock up these stores? I mean, the whole plan doesn't sound like it was thought through at all.
Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water? Yes or no?
We give all the instructions.
Just answer. What is your position?
Of course not, but we cannot
not.
cope with that. We can't have that responsibility, sir. May I make a reference to...
You can't have that responsibility?
No.
I feel like that scenario is so disturbing because in that moment, there are babies who are suffering, and this man is just trying to do his job for a big paycheck and to protect the corporation. It reminds me of a lot of modern day corporations who are taking advantage of us day to day. But after people were outraged, the World Health Organization made it law that companies are no longer allowed to compare formula to breast milk. So Nestle decided, instead of improving their product and making it more nutritious, they started pushing more sales in underdeveloped countries that had less restriction. So instead of follow these guidelines that you were just given, go to these underdeveloped countries that haven't heard the news yet and try to get some last minute sales.
Babies' lives are at greater risk because of the aggressive marketing tactics deployed by the formula milk industry.
Major players in the industry are actually violating laws in the Philippines, offering free trips to doctors and midwives, handing out pamphlets in hospitals that look like medical advice.
It's so sad to me because I feel like developed countries should assist in underdeveloped countries, not go there and try to make them worse. Because of this, Nestle has been able to maintain that baby formula is okay. They've been able to, I guess, as far as society goes, like maintain a presence in the market, though they have not done this ethically. I mean, we've talked about the marketing strategies, but they've also done some child labor as well.